start it?
Yes, sir.
All right, I will call this meeting of the Sewer Commission of June 10th, 2021 to order. As a preliminary matter, this is Andrew Nelson, Chair. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. John Knipe.
I think you're muted, John.
You might be on mute, John. Your video's not on either, but
I got his video.
Here.
Robert Cox.
Here.
Andrew Nelson, I am here. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Dan Rowley.
Present.
You're up. Jeff Howland.
Present.
Andy Truman.
Present.
Joe Kenny.
Present.
Natasha Cormier.
Present.
And that's all we have from the staff, correct?
Vincent Ty is here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vincent, I missed you. You're not on my screen at the moment. Vincent Ty. The introduction to the remote meeting. Good evening. This open meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the committee is convening by Google Meet as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please be sure to press *6 to mute your device. The meeting will feature public comment. Please wait until I open the items for public comment and press *6 to unmute your device. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. So our first order of business is the minutes of May 18th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? John Knipe,
Aye.
Bob Cox,
Aye.
and Andrew Nelson, yes also. Now we have to review and take action on the minimum sewer service size variant request by the India Society of Worcester, Inc. of 152 Main Street.
And Mr. Chair, I was going to start just with a brief overview of the project. It's a small request. I was going to put on the screen just a plan and just explain the request to the board, and then I think there'll be just some comments and for your review.
That'd be terrific. Thank you.
Let's see, here's this. All right, let me share this for you folks. Can you see? Okay, here it comes. Great. Does everybody see the plan?
Yes.
This
Yes.
is the India Center, 152 Main Street, down near the entrance to the Postal Distribution Center and at the interstate of 290. They have completed a beautiful addition, somewhere in the vicinity of $1.5–2 million to expand to the community. I was able to tour it at the beginning of April and absolutely was impressed. During the construction last fall, there was a field change that was made when the addition, which is in the back here, was constructed to take the sewer and to send it out the side of the building to an existing manhole. This field change was designed by John Grenier and went through the proper approval process through the planning board and Bernie Cahill as a field change, a de minimis change. And the approval was sent out to Patty Sheehan, our building inspector, Andy Truman, our town engineer, and our field inspector, Walter Costanza, who oversees these planning board projects. Unfortunately, at that time, a sewer connection permit wasn't secured. And of course, there's a lot going on in the field, so it was just an oversight. And unfortunately, at that time, the sewer department would have reviewed this line and would have noted that it's a 4-inch line. Again, it's engineered, but we have a regulation in our rules and regulations for a minimum of 6-inch for sewer connections. Fast forwarding to kind of over the winter, January, February, we started to work with the team at the India Center as they brought the building to life, working on water connections, backflow prevention. And at that point, we realized that the sewer permit hadn't been secured. And we began talking with the project team. And at that time, we realized that it was a 4-inch line that didn't meet our specifications. We talked back and forth, and it was really late in the game. There was already a cement pad over a good portion of the pipe. And so in our conversations, I recommended to the team that they come to the Board of Sewer Commissioners to ask for a variance for that 6-inch minimum line and allow for this 4-inch line, which was engineered and stamped by Mr. Grenier. Just highlighting, certainly nobody's fault here. What we've done to kind of prevent this in the future is we've transitioned all of our permits to online. So if you're working on a project, you're going to use the same online platform view permit as you would for your building permit, electrical permit, plumbing permit. So folks are able to manage these connections, and we're able to see them as well and work with the project team. So asking for your favorable consideration on this, and would open it up to any comments. I think Rajiv is going to say a few things.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you for this the summary of where we are. Back in 2019 is when we started off, and at that time, the building has kind of two toilets, and at that time, yes, you're right. I mean, we didn't pull a permit. We kind of even went through the process as if a permit had been pulled. If inspections were all done, and it was only pulled when it was pointed out to us in February of this year. So it's our request to this commission the building is complete. We have an occupancy permit. As Dan mentioned, the top coat is also laid. I request the commission to grant our request for a late permit filing and approve the construction as completed. Thank you.
This is Jeff Howland. I just have one quick statement, is the fact that sewer commissioners have jurisdiction starting 10 feet outside the building. The first 10 feet is under the plumber's jurisdiction, and so the 4-inch was designed per plumbing code, so that it's only a very short section of that's within the purview of the sewer commissioners.
Thank you, Jeff. Do you have any questions, Bob?
No, I don't. I'm ready to make a motion.
John, questions?
No question. I mean, they own the service, and if it's 4-inch coming out of the building, the 4-inch should be adequate enough to take it to the 6 that's already existing.
All right. Then if you wanted to make a motion, Bob, I'll allow you to do that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance from 6-inch to 4-inch for the property in question here.
I'll second that motion.
All right, let's take a vote. Bob Cox,
Aye. Yes.
John Knight,
Yes.
and Andrew Nelson, myself, I'm also a yes.
Great.
So that
All
is
right, thank you.
approved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Next item of business is the public hearing on the proposed changes to the stormwater management rules and regulations. Public is invited to attend via the meeting via the following link or phone. Who's going to be the point on this one?
Vincent, would you like to take the lead on this one?
Yes, I was just pulling up my window.
Okay.
So the DPW is proposing changes, a couple of changes to the stormwater management rules and regulations to match the MS 426 permit, which has been modified in 2020 and went into effect January of this year. And the changes were made based on feedback from the community and from within the department. Some of these changes includes clarifying parts of the stormwater utility, including removing language where it was referred to as a tax because it isn't a tax, and also clarifying a couple of exemptions that are already being applied to the stormwater utility. The other changes include matching Section 18, the post-construction stormwater management plan and design requirements to more closely match the permit. And finally, adding the requirement of a cash bond with the applications to help ensure compliance with the stormwater management permit from construction activities and projects.
I think you muted.
Mr. Chair, I think you're muted.
Or mute.
I am you, yeah, sorry. Any questions? from the-
To the best of us.
Having a whole conversation here. Any questions from the commission, Bob or John?
No.
No, I don't have.
Do we just formally move to vote on this, or do we have questions or comments from the public? Anyone wishing to speak on this? Are we okay moving right to the vote then on this?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, let's take a vote then. Bob Cox,
Yes.
John Knight,
Yes.
and Andrew Nelson. I am also a yes. Thank
so-
you. Vincent. Thank you, Vincent. And then we need an update on the stormwater utility, which I assume is also you, Vincent.
So the second part of the stormwater rules and regs is also the approval of the cash bond amount. Andy Truman, the town engineer, recommended a cash bond amount of $5,000 when submitting the stormwater permit application.
So we need a motion on the $5,000 with the application.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, just by way of background of why we're asking for this, so this year, for instance, the department has received 74 permits, of which only I think basically 47 are still, there's been no compliance with the permit whatsoever, no pre-construction meetings, no site inspections, no as-built, and certainly a lot of the sites are becoming, we have a couple of hot sites in town that, taking up a lot of town resources. Unfortunately, there's no consequences for not following this permit. So we have found very similar when we did the highway permit, the trench permit only for the highway, that cash bond is a great incentive to comply with the terms and conditions of the permit, because if they don't, then they lose the cash bond. So that's really by way of reason why we're asking for it, because it's really a carrot to incentivize the applicants to follow the rules and regulations.
That sounds reasonable to me. Any
Yeah,
questions or comments? Bob, John?
No, I'll make a motion. That we approve the $5,000 cash bond for the stormwater permits.
Second that.
Did you want to say something, Jeff? Were you?
No, I was just going to say the requirements that we're asking the contractors and the sites to do are a requirement of our MS4 permit. So that's the reason that it's important. We're not just asking because we want to, we're asking because it's a requirement of our permit.
Great. Thank you very much for that clarification. So we have a motion on the floor. I'll take a vote. Bob Cox,
Yes.
John Knight,
Yes.
and myself, I am a yes also, Andrew Nelson. And now we can go to the update on the stormwater utility. that you, Vincent? You're on mute now. Your turn.
Happens to everybody. In terms of the stormwater permit, we're doing pretty well. We're 92% complete of the outfall screenings. Literally only about 50 inspections left. In terms of the stormwater utility, I actually haven't looked into that yet. And haven't been checking for if we were on track or not, at least since last month.
Okay.
This is Jeff, and I can say that we are on track to meet our, actually, I think we might be slightly ahead of where we expected to be this time where we were expected to be by the end of the fiscal year.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Vincent. We'll move on to the next item, which is review and take action on the sewer rate increase. I think that is you, probably, Mr. Snowden.
Good evening. Coming to you, the commission this evening with good news. There with the onsite of the ARPA funding, we are in the fortunate position to adjust our sewer rates and not negatively impact the financial plan that was discussed previously in this year. The ARPA funding would either fund Maple or the repair and rehabilitation of either Maple or Rolfe pump station. Both projects are similar in cost, and we were looking to use SRF funds for those projects. One other benefit of the ARPA funding is the design costs, which were $320,000 that were part of the capital budget for FY22, can also be included. So with the additional revenue of $320,000 in FY22 and the removal of half of our debt service associated with SRF funding, we have been able to reduce the year one rate from an average of 30.6% to 27%. And those reductions were applied across the board to all the different customer classes, while also maintaining while also raising the appropriate revenue for tier and usage, so that there's not one class that is overburdened or covering the majority of the cost for some other customer class. That was the document that we shared previously, and we'll certainly, upon the approval, get this posted online. We've been working in our financial system to make sure everything is ready to be implemented for July 1st. And that's the end of the good news.
Thank you very much. That is good news, and thank you for your efforts on this. Any questions from you, Bob? You're on mute too, so.
It was my turn to be on.
Yeah.
I said, no, I have no questions.
Great.
It's just good news.
How about you, John? You're also on mute. So
No, I'm all set. It's good.
okay. Anyone want to move to accept the rates as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Well, I got to do roll call. Sorry, Bob Cox,
Yes.
John Knipe,
Yes.
and Andrew Nelson is also a yes. Easy to vote for a reduction, or I guess a less of an increase. So now we can move to updates on ongoing and upcoming sewer projects.
So I have two, and then I'll send it over to Jeff. We did just finally receive authorization from Worcester to send temporary flow to them, so we can continue our Route 20 sewer project with work at the Edgemere and Arrowwood pump stations. Took just a little time to work through some details with them. So we're waiting to get a schedule from Raymakers when that work will continue. And then we had our pre-construction meeting for the Howe Ave pump station, and it sounds like there's about a 14-week lead time for the pumps. So we're expecting that project to start sometime in September. Jeff, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so our first part of phase 2 sewer of Route 20 sewer construction has been awarded to Amarillo as part of the MassWorks grant. So they just started work, Andy, last week, and they're moving along. We are working with the residential developer at the Edgemere Drive-In, who, due to their schedule, is going to require that the sewer be installed along Route 20 sooner than what was on Amarillo's schedule, but they are paying the extra amount to Amarillo for that work to be done sooner. And what, in essence, Amarillo will be working extra hours in the beginning of this project to get the sewer in quicker. We opened bids for our SCADA project a couple of weeks ago, and I think we just awarded it today. I am happy to say that budget prices came in significantly lower than what we anticipated. It was estimated at 1.4 million, and it came in around 900,000, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. With very reputable contractors, so it wasn't like it's somebody we weren't expecting. We had 3 bidders, 2 were way under, and 1 was about where we had estimated. And we had an alternate to put the a meter down at the old flume, at the old wastewater treatment plant location, as we actually don't have a meter on our total flow to Westboro. This would include putting that in, and that's within that 900. I think it was 938,000. So we were originally not expecting that, because we were expecting that to be the price to be way over. But it's, even with that in there, it was still way under budget. So we're very happy that we were able to get that and get it, and that completes all of our SCADA for all of our pump stations. Actually brings it into the modern era. But because we had existing funds and the butt came under, we're actually also going to be able to start a fund that will be for long-range planning and replacement and upgrades to the SCADA system as we move forward. So we're actually going to start putting money into that. So when we do, so we don't have the issue that we have now, where all Dan has to fix the old SCADA system was a series of floppy disks, and which nobody knew what order to put them in, nor did anybody have a computer that they would run in. So, and we are expecting in the next week or two the report on the initial report, investigation and evaluation on the Rolfe and Maple pump stations. And they are starting the structural evaluation of the Harvey pump station. Actually, I think they may have did that today, if I'm not mistaken. They had a structural engineer down there today. And if you call, Harvey is the one right along Lake Quinsigamon that has standing water in the bottom, and we're not sure why, of the dry well. So we're trying to that's on the schedule to be evaluated and then designed, and then whatever, we got to figure out what's got to be done. Why is it leaking? While they're there, I think we are paying a daily rate for the structural engineer to be there to do his testing. So since Jordan Pond is a sister station of Harvey, they were built at the same time. They have the exact same plans, the exact same footprint. It's the same materials, same everything's the same. While they're there, if we have time, because we are paying for the day, in his adequate time, he's going to go over in Jordan, do the exact same thing at Jordan. It's not on our schedule to do, but at least if we can get the structural to look at the can, then maybe we can, it may be possible we'll get almost 2 birds with 1 stone, at least evaluation of the can itself. I think that, and did we already talk about the II? Was that at the last meeting? So we also bid our years 7 through 9 II project. Again, estimated at 1.25 million, and the bid price was 778,000. So we've awarded that contract, and I believe the pre-construction meeting for that one is actually next Thursday, the 17th. And that's all I have for now.
Question to Jeff. The force main on Maple Ave, is that part of the work on the station to be replaced, or are you leaving the existing in place?
It's part of, so there's two sections of the force main that were not replaced when we redid Route 9.
Right.
There's the section of Rolfe up to Route 9. So that would, I believe that's part of the Rolfe Ave pump station design and construction. And then the section from basically Fairlawn Plaza up to the Maple Ave pump station, and then Maple Ave up to
Hutchins.
Hutchins. It would be part of the Maple Ave pump station.
That's good, because that's old AC pipe, if I remember right.
Yeah, and that is Dan Regato's biggest skeleton in his closet, according to him.
Yeah, they had all kinds of problems with that years ago before they built that in the Maple Ave station. That kept breaking.
Yes. Yeah, it was just way too much. It was not designed correctly. It had way too much head on it.
Right.
And my biggest issue is that 60-year-old AC force main, in which it's almost impossible to get parts for. They obviously don't make that size pipe. It's oversized OD on it. And I believe from talking to when Bob Tezeschi was here, we have to get a 21-inch PVC pipe so that can fit around the 18-inch AC pipe, just because of the OD.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to find the couplings. And it's not, I don't believe even though it's close to a 21-inch OD, might even be bigger than that. The problem is it's somewhat random. It's
Right.
not exactly the same all the way up. And the other part of that is it's built on rock.
Yeah, there's ledge on that section.
Yeah. So we do want to replace, but part of their Western Sampson's evaluations is the hydraulics, because I'm not convinced that part of our problem, I believe, is the fact that that force main is way oversized at the low flows. It's not oversized at the high flows, but at the low flows, it's way oversized. So it might be a dual force main, one for normal daily flow, and then when we have peak flows, the other force main will kick in.
Yeah.
But that's still in the infancy stage at this point.
What type of pipe would you replace it with?
I'll leave that up to Weston Sampson as part of their design. So at this point, we've been having some luck with fused HD, kind of like a polybutylene, which is almost like gas pipe.
Right.
We've been using that lately on force mains. That's what's on the Route 20 job. It's easy to install. They can basically almost install a lot of it from the surface and then almost put it into place as they go. And
Right.
fusing it is really quick. So that technology has come a long way in the last 20 years.
Yeah, good.
Jeff, two projects you mentioned tonight have come in significantly under budget, which is
Yes.
fantastic. But
Yes.
is there something in the industry that's causing that? Are we just getting lucky, or I
Well-
know everything else in the world seems to be going up right now.
Yeah. So the first part of that is I'm not sure why the numbers came in low. However, we just awarded a water main job, which we were a little nervous on. Not awarded, but we just received bids this week, right?
Right,
Andy?
Yep.
Which, to be honest with you, I was a little nervous that we were going to starting to see that supply chain issue cost increases. And it was about where Andy had estimated as if this was a normal period. So I was a little surprised, to be honest. I was expecting it to start higher. So reality, I still think the number came in low because I was expecting it to be higher. I think part of it is at the time, I don't think there's as much office and commercial construction. And so people were just bidding it low. I can say in the skater side, I think the reason that number came in, the skater, Dan, what did we get? 3 bids? No, 4 bids.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4.
But they all were fairly close. I mean, it wasn't one that was way out. So I'm thinking that everybody is wanting to make sure that they have adequate projects lined up for the year.
I would think they're all gonna have projects soon with all this ARPA money coming in.
Well, so that is another reason why, like, for instance, we're putting out a couple of water jobs. We put one out for FY '22 just now, but we're gonna spend some of our opera money, I believe, on a water main project because we're ready to go. We're getting it out ASAP because for that reason, because everybody in there, every contractor or everybody who has a backhoe is going to become a contractor putting in utilities.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna get it, whatever we can to get everything done and be ready to go now. Because if we have it, let's do it.
That's smart. Great move.
Um,
Is that all we have on updates?
That's all I have.
Any questions, comments, Bob or John?
No,
All right. Next agenda item is the selecting a date and time for the next meeting. We generally take off July and August, correct?
Yep.
Is there any reason we will not take off July and August, or we should not take off July and August this summer? All right, well, I like that.
yeah, me
Do we
too.
want to schedule this far out in September now, or do we want to do this by email in a month or so?
I think it'd be better to hold it off and do it via email.
Right.
Yeah, then to let people figure out their plans and what you might be doing and all of that. I'm no problems with that.
I would expect to be
So,
back in person too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes, yes. Even if the extension goes, if we're in September, I think the extension is through September 1st. So our next meeting, hopefully we'll all be in the same room and everyone will be safe.
well, that'll take care of the commute problem, right? Unless we just can't think of something like that.
We can do it for fun, just for that. But
I can bring the duct tape if you'd like.
You just pretend to talk. Move your lips.
does anyone have anything they'd like to say before we go?
no,
Nope, all set.
All right.
Enjoy your summer.
Enjoy your summer, yeah.
I like that. Everyone, I echo that. And anyone want to make a motion?
motion to adjourn?
Second,
Roll call vote. Bob Cox,
yes.
John Knight,
Yes.
Andrew Nelson is a yes also. Everyone enjoy their summer, be safe, and we'll see you in September.
See you in September. Thank you, everybody.
Everything.
Good night.
Summer.
Take care, everyone.